Okay, so let me go ahead and fill this out as I'm going through here. My first sample, we're going to say I'm testing out sample A. I measured out 100 milliliters of water. My sample weight is again 1 gram. 1 gram for each sample that you have. Next, I'm going to find my initial water temperature. Again, we're measuring in degrees Celsius. My initial water temperature is 19 degrees Celsius. Okay? Next, after I have measured out my 100 milliliters of water, I'm going to pour that into my little water can on the top, okay, for the top of my colorimeter. Next, I will take sample A, a lint for sample A. I'm going to take the test 1 sample. You will have 3 samples, 3 pieces for the same sample. So this is my lint for test 1. You're going to place it on top of the little nail that's in there. Okay? And you might have to just kind of hold the nail a little bit, but gently kind of place it on there so that it is above the bottom of the can, as you can see it, and it's just resting on there. You don't have to jab it in there very far, but you want some space underneath it because we'll be lighting it from the side. Next, place your water can on top. Now what we've made is we made a homemade colorimeter. What will happen is our lint is going to burn, and as our lint is burning, it will give off heat, thermal energy. The thermal energy will be conducted. Remember we talked about conduction? It will be conducted into the metal can, and the metal can will then heat the water up. So we've talked about all these things in class, now we're putting them to the test. Okay, now for the actual lighting of the lint. This is where I will come in. When you have your 100 milliliters of water in there, when I've seen that your data sheet has been filled out with the initial water temperature, the milliliters of water, and the weight of your water, then I will come around and I will light your lint. What you're going to also want to do is record the clock. Keep an eye out. You're going to have one person recording the time it takes for the lint to entirely burn out. Okay? So I'm going to light the lint from the bottom, and the lint will immediately start to burn. Keep an eye on it and keep measuring it as far as time for how much the lint burns. Now, the lint you want to completely burn. Do not move your can around like I am doing, but you're going to want to watch and make sure that your lint completely burns out. If it goes out and there's still some lint that can still be burned, please raise your hand and I will come around and relight it. The next step, once you have your lint completely burned out, next you're going to want to measure the water temperature. Now, place your thermometer back into your water. Please do not put the thermometer all the way at the bottom. Do not let it touch the bottom of your can. Hold it and measure to see how high your thermometer goes. Okay, so as I'm getting my reading here, it is approximately 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that is my ending water temperature. Once the red alcohol line stops moving, that is your ending water temperature. You can take out your thermometer, come over to your data sheet, and you're going to record your ending water temperature, in this case, which is 25 degrees Celsius. Please make sure you have the units. Now you're going to want to find out the difference. This is the T portion of the formula. The difference here is 25 minus 19, 6 degrees Celsius. Please also write any qualitative observations. what you see, what you smelled, if you heard any crackling, anything like that. The last piece of data for each test is the average burn time. At the bottom of the page we have our average burn time. Now, what you're going to want to do is right below that, please write down each time. So for our first time, it burned for about 22 seconds. Then we would make another time, and then a third time, and then we would find the average. Again, to find the average, we are going to add up all of our times and divide them. In this case, we have 3 tests, so we would divide them by 3 to find our average time. Okay? The last thing that we need to do is we have our water. We don't want to reuse our water, so we can take our water and we can dispose of that in the sink. Then we're going to dispose of our lint. And for our lint, we're going to have a special container where you will dump the lint out. Make sure it comes out. And if it doesn't come out right away, just simply use a pencil or a pen and tap it off your nail there. Take a little bit. And once you get it off and tapped out, then you'll be able to reuse the can. Okay, so my colorimeter is all cleaned out. I have no more lint. I don't have any more water in my container. I have all my results filled out. Now I'm going to move on to test 2. Do the same thing with the same lint sample. Place your 100 milliliters of water in there, making sure you have the initial water temperature. Place your lint onto the holder, and then I will come around and light it. Once you have figured out all of your tests, then you can go in and compute your calories. Now, calories are figured out this way. You will take C, which will always stay 100 grams of water. You will then multiply it by the difference. Let's take our first temperature difference, which is 6 centimeters. Our first is 6 degrees Celsius, so we're going to multiply the 100 times 6, which equals 600. Okay? So, we do not have 6 calories, but we have 600. So our Q is 600. And let's just keep track of this number to begin with for right now. We will change that around later on, and I'll discuss that in class. But for your calories burned, you're going to write 600 calories. Okay? Once you have all 3 tests done for that same sample, then you're going to find the average by adding up all the calories from each test, dividing it by 3, and then you will get your average calories burned for that sample. Alright? The last thing we have to do then is we're going to then flip our page over and we will have a new sample. So here is my sample B. Again, I will place this into my colorimeter holder, poke it there on the little nail. Again, be very careful of any sharp edges. I'm going to measure out my 100 milliliters of water, making sure that my meniscus is at the bottom of my 100. I should have an initial temperature on this, and if I don't, I'm going to want to make sure I get that. Carefully pour this into your metal holder and set it on there. Once you have everything set and recorded, then again raise your hand and I will come around and light it. Remember, as it's burning, you're going to want to get the average burn time. Okay? That is our lab for our lint research. Remember these steps. If you need to, you can rewatch this video again, but this will be the lab that we're going to be doing Thursday and Friday as needed. Okay? See you tomorrow.